If you live in Georgia and you're on Facebook, you may have received a message from a friend or family member that goes a little something like this. This is a long text, but please read it. Explanation of the 3 resolutions on the ballot for the upcoming election. And it continues to go on to give you those 3 ballot measures and whether or not you should select yes or no, depending on that person's opinion or that post's opinion. The first thing you always have to remember when receiving anything on Facebook is that Facebook has a legal fiduciary responsibility to make money. They're a corporation. That's it. So there will never ever be a time when they care about anything other than making money. And anything that they censor will be because it makes them money, or anything that they promote will be because it makes them money. There's no other reason, so you can't depend on them to be the gatekeeper for what's true or false, or fact check things. Number 2, you have to see what's the source. Who's the source? If it's your mom, if it's your dad, if it's your son, if it's your brother, if it's your sister, if it's your auntie, your uncle, or your cousin, that's not a source, unless they work for a faction of the government or a political candidate of one of the major parties. If you're getting the post from an official site of one of the major parties, Republican, the Democratic Party, or independent party that you frequent, then it gives you context on exactly who's sending it and why, and that could actually help you out. If it's coming from one of the major candidates' official site or channel, then voila, that's also an official source. If it's coming from a news organization, always check it with a second or maybe a third, which would be even better. But always check it with at least a second news organization, not just one. Now that that's over with, I personally decided to look into it because when it was sent to me, I wanted to make sure it didn't go any further past me without me checking both sides of the situation and putting it out here. So here it goes. It's going to be quick. So after I looked into it, after checking both sides of the situation, what the people against the measure had to say, what the people for the measure had to say, and who were the people promoting the measures, as well as who were the people voting against the measures as far as their party affiliations. I've come to the conclusion that this video here is going to be the best way for me to kind of springboard and tell you why I come to the conclusions that I've come to, and hopefully it'll help you out before you press send on that message that you received. Check this out and let's talk about it.
First is the creation of a state tax court. It's a proposed constitutional amendment. The tax court, or business court, will operate like our superior courts, but take on cases involving tax matters. However, the superior court can move a case to its jurisdiction if it sees fit. If created, chief tax court judges would serve 4-year terms. The governor would appoint them with approval from Georgia's Senate and House Judiciary Committee.
So the state tax court, the first clue of how you may want to vote on it is you can't vote on the judges of this court. This court is appointed by the governor and is selected by the representatives inside the House or Senate of Georgia, which are always Republican. So if you trust that your Republican governor will appoint people to a tax court that will be fair to you, and that the representatives who will most likely for a very long time continue to be run by the Republicans to appoint someone who's fair to you, then you vote yes on that measure, measure 1. If you don't think that they will be fair to you and that you not okay with not being able to vote on these judges who become the tax court officials, leaders, heads, and decision makers of the law written into the Constitution, then you vote no. All right, here's the second measure.
People will also see the local option homestead property tax exemption amendment. This is also a constitutional amendment. If passed, it would authorize the Georgia General Assembly to implement a statewide exemption from ad valorem taxes. This would create a statewide uniformity similar to exemptions several counties already have, like DeKalb, Gwinnett, and Forsyth.
Now, our very first clue here on whether or not you want to vote no or yes is whenever somebody says a statewide exemption and taxes, remember the flat tax. This is what Republicans have been trying to do for many years, since 999.
999 means jobs, jobs, jobs.
What's his name? The guy from the gangster pizza place. I'll let you look that up. But yeah, statewide flat tax means that those who pay more would end up paying less. Those who pay less would usually end up paying more. That's usually why flat taxes never, ever pass. But the second clue is they want to make this a constitutional amendment, so you no longer can vote on it after that. Now, if you think that a flat tax proposed by the Republican Party for the last 25 years or so is going to be fair for people who make less than a certain amount, then you vote yes. If you don't think that a flat tax, that the reason why certain things, people in certain cities are exempt from certain taxes is because they harbor a lot of the type of people who can't pay those, and you want to keep that going, or you want to make sure that the people who can pay do pay, then you vote no. It's up to you. Let's take a look at the last one, number 3. We'll see what they say.
Finally, Georgians will vote on a personal property tax exemption increase. The measure asks if you approve increasing the personal property tax exemption from $7,500 to $20,000. Personal property includes furniture, fixtures, machinery, and other property used in a business, as well as aircrafts and boats owned by an individual or corporation.
And there is the biggest clue. Now, of course, if you could exempt $20,000 from your taxes, that would be cool, right? Well, unless you own a boat for fun, a yacht, 20 motorcycles, 30 cars. If you own a trucking company, sure, that makes sense. But for any corporation, I think you see where that one's going. I don't have to be as diplomatic here, hopefully. And then again, it's a constitutional amendment. I need you to understand that on this one, I'm not going to be as diplomatic, because if we do this, if you do press yes, if you do circle yes, if you do vote yes on this one, measure 3, you're saying you want rich people to pay less in taxes and have more write-offs for frivolous toys that they buy. I cannot be diplomatic on that one. I think you should vote no for that. And that's just my opinion. If you're rich and you have frivolous toys and you'd like to pay less and bankrupt the state, because that's exactly what it will do. Schools will be less funded, as well as libraries will be less funded, as well as the roads and the streets, except for the ones going to the prison, like in Stone Mountain, will be less funded if you vote yes on Measure 3. That's that. It's showing you right there, and they're even trying to be diplomatic on 11 Alive. So there you have it. That's all 3. That's my assessment of them. If you decide to continue to pass this on, know that that's what you're passing on. And if not, that's on you. See you on the next one.